Bryan Allan Braman, born May 4, 1987, in Spokane, Washington, was a fiercely competitive linebacker who rose from undrafted free agent to Super Bowl champion before succumbing on July 17, 2025, at just 38 years old after a courageous battle with a rare and aggressive form of cancer. Diagnosed in February 2025, Braman immediately embarked on an intensive treatment regimen in Seattle that included multiple surgeries, chemotherapy, immunotherapy, and specialized CRT cell therapy. Despite initial signs of remission, his disease returned with relentless aggression, spreading around vital organs and overwhelming his compromised immune system. A GoFundMe campaign launched to defray the soaring costs of his medical care and living expenses ultimately raised more than $88,000, thanks in part to a generous $10,000 donation from former teammate J.J. Watt and contributions from peers across the NFL community. Underscoring the deep respect he earned both on and off the field, Braman's professional journey began when the Houston Texans signed him as an undrafted free agent in 2011. Over 7 seasons, he totaled 56 tackles, 1.5 sacks, 2 fumble recoveries, and 1 defensive touchdown, distinguished above all by his passion for special teams play. In December 2017, he returned to the Philadelphia Eagles mid-season, instantly making his mark by blocking a punt in the divisional round win over the Atlanta Falcons, a pivotal play en route to an unforgettable 41-33 victory against the New England Patriots in Super Bowl 52. Known for his 6'5" frame, 230-pound build, and signature intensity, Braman became a fan favorite in Philadelphia, admired as much for his wild-haired persona as for his unyielding work ethic and leadership in the locker room. Off the gridiron, Braman was a devoted father to 2 young daughters, Blakely and Harlow, ages 11 and 8, whom he often described as one of the 3 greatest accomplishments of his life, alongside his 7 NFL seasons and Super Bowl triumph. Survived by his daughters and a network of teammates, coaches, and friends, his legacy transcends statistics. It endures in the spirit of resilience he embodied, the camaraderie he fostered, and the poignant reminder that even heroes sometimes fight battles unseen until the end. Legendary American singer Connie Francis, whose tender vocals on the 1962 B-side, Pretty Little Baby, won her a late career renaissance, died peacefully on July 16, 2025, at the age of 87. Her passing was confirmed the following day by her close friend and president of her label, Conchetta Records, Ron Roberts, via a heartfelt Facebook post announcing, "It is with a heavy heart and extreme sadness that I inform you of the passing of my dear friend Connie Francis last night," adding that she would have wanted her fans to hear the news directly from him. Born Conchetta Rosa Maria Franconero on December 12, 1937, in Newark, New Jersey, Francis began performing as a child, mastering the accordion and appearing on local television by age 9. She adopted the stage name Connie Francis and signed with MGM Records in 1955, but her breakthrough came in 1958 when, at her father's urging, she recorded Who's Sorry Now?, which became an international sensation and cemented her status as a pioneering female pop artist. Over the next decade, Francis amassed more than 50 charting singles, including Stupid Cupid, Don't Break the Heart That Loves You, and Everybody's Somebody's Fool, the first #1 hit on the Billboard Hot 100 by a female solo artist, selling upwards of 200 million records worldwide. In early July 2025, she was hospitalized in Florida for severe pelvic pain related to a fracture. Despite a brief improvement, her condition worsened, and she spent her final days under medical care, expressing to Roberts her regret at missing a planned comeback appearance, but remaining ever the optimist about her legacy. Just weeks before her death, Pretty Little Baby, once a modest B-side, soared onto Spotify's global and U.S. charts and amassed over 74 million streams after going viral on TikTok, a phenomenon that delighted Francis, who admitted she had nearly forgotten the song's existence. Tributes have poured in from fans and fellow artists worldwide, praising her resilience through personal hardships, including a brutal 1974 assault and a decades-long advocacy for survivors of sexual violence, and celebrating her as a trailblazer who brought emotional honesty and vocal elegance to the pop music canon. Her extraordinary career, spanning traditional pop, rock and roll, and country pop, along with her record-setting chart achievements and pioneering international success, ensures that Connie Francis will be remembered not only for her timeless hits, but for the courage and grace she embodied both on and off the stage. Penny Spence, one of the true trailblazers of Australian television, has died at the age of 83, leaving behind a remarkable legacy that spans more than 4 decades and encompasses newsreading, light entertainment, and children's programming. Born and raised in Melbourne, Spence relocated to Sydney in the 1960s to attend the National Institute of Dramatic Art NIDA, but after 2 years concluded that her greatest talents lay in broadcast presentation rather than acting. Auditioning successfully for TCN9, she quickly became a familiar face across a series of flagship programs, hosting light-hearted variety offerings such as Comedy Capers and Breakfast with Penny, children's staples like Playroom and Look, Listen, Laugh and Learn, and game shows including Jackpot Quiz and 9 Will Fix It, as well as lending her charm to the ABC's gala performance. In addition to this diverse slate of entertainment duties, Spence broke new ground as one of the first women in Australia to read daytime news bulletins for Channel 9, earned early assignments as a weather presenter and continuity announcer, and even fronted commercials, demonstrating versatility that few of her contemporaries could match. Her contributions were recognized with 2 TV Week Logie Awards for Best Female Personality in New South Wales, first in 1969 and again in 1972. An acknowledgement not only of her on-screen charisma, but also her pioneering role at a time when television news remained overwhelmingly male-dominated. In 1974, she transitioned to current affairs reporting on No Man's Land, and that same year took part in TCN9's inaugural color sports broadcast, cementing her status as a broadcaster unafraid of new challenges. Later in her career, Spence championed children's content from behind the camera, serving as chairperson of 9's Children's Advisory Board when industry quotas and content standards for young audiences were emerging, and producing beloved series such as Falcon Island, Danny's Egg, Color in the Creek, and Shipmates before moving on to a senior executive role with the European Broadcasting Union's Children's Unit. Beyond her professional achievements, she was known affectionately as the first wife of 9's musical maestro Jeff Harvey. Together they raised 2 daughters, Eugenie and Charlotte. Spence's death marks the end of an era for Australian television, her warmth, professionalism, and pioneering spirit forever etched into the history of Channel 9 and the broader broadcasting landscape. Dan Rivera, 54, a respected paranormal investigator and senior lead member of the Connecticut-based New England Society for Psychic Research, NESPR, was found dead in his Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, hotel room on July 13, 2025, while on the Devils on the Run tour, showcasing the infamous Raggedy and doll known as Annabelle, according to authorities. Emergency responders administered CPR upon arrival, but Rivera was pronounced dead at the scene, with no signs of foul play and an autopsy pending. To determine the precise cause of death, a U.S. Army veteran who first encountered paranormal phenomena as a child in his Bridgeport, Connecticut home, Rivera spent over a decade working alongside famed demonologists Ed and Lorraine Warren, eventually being regarded as one of their most devoted protégés. He had helped spearhead public exhibits and educational events, including speaking engagements and social media-driven campaigns that amassed millions of views, and served as a consulting producer on the Netflix series 28 Days. Haunted. The NESPR issued a heartfelt statement on July 14, expressing that we are heartbroken and still processing this loss, and honoring Rivera's passion for sharing his experiences and educating the public about the occult, while pledging to continue his work and preserve the Warren legacy. Among those mourning Rivera's sudden passing was Australian horror movie director James Wan, the co-creator of the Saw and Insidious franchises and architect of the Conjuring universe, who took to social media to describe himself as stunned and heartbroken at the news of Rivera's death, lauding his dedication and friendship in a tribute post shared on X, formerly Twitter. The doll at the center of this tragedy, purchased in the early 1970s and later donated to Ed and Lorraine Warren, has long been enshrined in their occult museum in Monroe, Connecticut, locked in a glass case to contain the malevolent spirit said to inhabit it, a legend that inspired the multi-million-dollar Conjuring films, despite the eerie reputation. Organizers of the tour have emphasized the educational mission behind the events and announced that upcoming stops in Augusta, Rock Island, and Louisville will proceed in Rivera's honor, with proceeds benefiting his family and sustaining the Society's paranormal research initiatives. The mystery surrounding Dan Rivera's death has only deepened public fascination with Annabelle, yet his colleagues insist that their beloved friend's legacy will endure through ongoing investigations and remembrance ceremonies planned for later this year.